Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, because we have international people as well watching this sometimes. This is Spurs TV, and so I'm joined again by Lee. Lee, you're on mute. Oh.
Sorry.
How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Sorry, it went on mute on its own. I didn't mean to do that. I apologise. Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, fine. All things considered, I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, Josh, you're back finally again after how
are we doing? Yes,
yeah,
a couple of times missed, but back. Yeah, great to be back on the channel again.
Okay, so first I'll start with you, Josh, because of what we just spoke about before. How are you feeling after today's result? Because I'm a bit
relief more than anything. I mean, let's not be too negative straight away. I mean, to get a point at the bridge, I'd have snapped your hand off for that at the start, purely because of our record. I did, say, I thought if there was any season that I felt like we were really capable of getting a result, it would have been this season and today. But actually, I think the game really showed we've still got a lot of work to do, and we are still, to be honest, I probably was guilty of writing off Chelsea in my pre-season predictions for the table. I think Chelsea is still at a much higher level than I think I expected, and Tottenham aren't at as high a level as I expected either. So I think, there's a big gap that definitely, I think we're slowly getting closer. I think not losing the game was great, scoring twice at the bridge when Chelsea actually looked pretty solid defensively for a lot of the game. So happy we've got a point, but I'm not sure we deserved it, and a lot of work to be done.
Because like yourself, I was quite not positive, not negative about it. I was quietly optimistic, I guess, that we were going to go there and do something, especially because they didn't have a striker and they're still looking for a striker. So I thought, maybe in the first few minutes we'll actually get at them.
No, absolutely.
But the first few minutes, it was literally just the complete opposite.
No, spot on. I think if I was to sort of draw a couple of key sort of bullet points about the game in three, I would say, one, this team has got incredible character under Conte, incredible resilience, and a never give up attitude, which is something that this team has really lacked and desperately needed for a long period of time. Point two, Chelsea were superb, but I think we also made them look better than perhaps they were. We were really sloppy in possession, and I think the key reason for that was we have to hand it to Tuchel. He tactically outdid Conte today. I think that was very evident. And then point three, we are a defensive shambles still. The problems that we needed to fix in the window, we have not fixed. We fixed certain problems. We've given ourselves some options. Richarlison looked great actually off the bench. He made a real.
I felt so as well. Yeah.
But defensively, we were really, really sloppy. I actually thought that Emerson had another good game. I thought he was our best defender on the day. He was the only one out of our back line that was actually winning more tackles than not. I think Romero again was good, but he wasn't Romero. Do you know what I mean? He didn't play to the same level we expect from him. I think he was sloppy on the ball. I thought Ben Davies had a shocker today, and Eric Dyer. To be fair to him, he won some duels, but you wouldn't have known Eric Dyer was playing today. And I think that was the worrying thing about this performance today, was how many players would you have not realised were even on the pitch? Apart from Højbjerg's goal, you would never have known he was on the pitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that would be my sort of, I say
short summary.
My brief summary. It wasn't that brief, but that's kind of the basics of how I saw today.
So Lee, for you, were you happy with the result? Were you expecting a result? Because you were very positive going into it.
Because like Josh, I think a lot of us were underestimating Chelsea and their situation. And I think, obviously, in hindsight, what a shit thing to do, to be honest. It's kind of humble pie, isn't it? Kind of got taken down a level with that. But I thought we showed some. I mean, first 5 or 10 minutes, I thought, well, we're actually getting at them. There's a couple of balls over the top, a couple of wing plays. I thought, we're actually getting at them here. We're pushing. We're going to hopefully keep on attacking. But after that 10 minutes, it went stale, and I thought, here we go, and then old habits again. Midfield was non-existent for me for a little while. Like Josh said, you can't. Where was Hoy? You didn't even notice half the players on the pitch until they physically got the ball. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing. I don't know what it is. It's just all Chelsea. They were just completely dominant. They were the better team. I was a little bit overly positive, I guess. Well, I mean, I wasn't going in saying we was going to smash them. Of course not. I think I said 2-1, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, from 2-1. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought we could pull a 2-1 off, but we was just awful today, mate. I'm not happy at all. So much work to do. Josh is 100% right. We've got so much work to do defensively. I mean, we can't be going forward with Emerson and Cess. Not just them. It's not just them to blame. Even though Emerson had a pretty good game today, but we just cannot. If we're serious about moving forward and progressing, there's quite a few players we need to be, looking at still, replacing.
I mean, for me, the most alarming thing was in the midfield because, like you both mentioned, I think probably Højbjerg didn't really get noticed at all. I thought Bensko had a really bad game. But for me, I thought Kante destroyed us, especially in the first half.
Typical, isn't it? He has a crap few months or crap year, and then as soon as he plays us, he plays us. He completely destroys the midfield as per usual, which we knew was going to happen, didn't we?
But there was even I don't know if you remember this, but he even put nutmeg to Bensko, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, because for me, the halftime change I would have done is very unlike Conte to do this, but I would have actually taken off either Son or Kulusevski and put Bissouma in midfield because I felt like we were getting overrun, and I'd rather sacrifice one of those three and solidify the midfield because at least we had some sort of because we just weren't winning anything in there.
No.
So
you could see from the off as I mean, as soon as the lineup came out, you knew they were smashing 5 at the back. You knew what they were going to do, Kane, Son, and Kulu. You knew they were going to contain them. And then all that leaves is Sessegnon and Emerson as our main attacking threat. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? We need more than that. And I knew from the off. As soon as they'd done that, obviously Reece James and you had Loftus-Cheek. And you know what I mean? And you had, who was it on? Who else did they have on their other wing? Reece James and who else was it?
Cucurella.
Yeah, obviously Cucurella.
He had a great game, actually.
Oh, he was really good, really good. But as soon as they'd done that, mate, I just knew containment.
But it's like, for example, for some like Sterling, I thought was given way too much space. I know you mentioned Emerson you both mentioned that he played well. Or sorry, Josh did. But for me, Sterling was given way too much space on that side.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I don't know whether it was to do with Kulusevski or Emerson not tracking him.
I think Emerson was dealing with an overload the whole game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. It was doubled up on
I put in our chat, and this can't be seen by everyone else, but I put what I would rate the team and the players that played today, and you'll see the standouts in there in terms of spectacularly rubbish performances were Ben Davis, who was just dreadful, Sessegnon, who was just dreadful, and Kulusevski, who was just dreadful. All three of them were absolutely abysmal today. Kulusevski, he was far too weak for that second goal. I know Koulibaly's a big boy, but there was no low centre of gravity. If he's going to lose the ball, kick it away, kick it out. It doesn't matter. He shouldn't be back to goal trying to dribble out when he's got no space. Try and kick it against Koulibaly and win a throw-in. Do you know what I mean? It's just simple game management there, especially so soon after we'd scored that equaliser as well. And then the other thing to bear in mind is Kulusevski didn't track back at all.
No.
Emerson was dealing with an overload. And actually, when you look at the chances that Chelsea did have, they all came from Reece James's involvement.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all came from Mason Mount and N'Golo Kante. I thought Kante, a lot of Chelsea fans I know say he's past it. He had a superb game. He had a really good game. It's because he had some injuries and he didn't look great. But Kante had an amazing game. He controlled it. But Mason Mount was superb. The role he played as a sort of progressive 8, filling in gaps, providing an overload in midfield. They always had an extra man. And then Reece James is Reece James. We know that the right wing back position from an England perspective is the most competitive position there is. I don't know a time where England has ever had this many, that stacked a position with serious quality, and Reece James, if Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't exist, would be, you wouldn't even think about it. He'd be first name on the England team sheet. So we know the threat he possesses, but when I say, Davis had a 3 out of 10, I mean, when Kulusevski did lose that ball, how much, space did they have on that right-hand side? The whole team tucked in too far on the left. The whole team was dragged out. And it was the story of the game, really. It was how many times did Chelsea have a free man? Whether it be the corners, which, I'm sure we'll talk about later on, which is exactly how we concede goals. That zonal marking is just shocking. If Conte doesn't scrap that. We've got a set-piece coach now, and that set-piece coach ought to be fired if we concede another goal like that, because it's genuinely disgraceful. I mean, what on earth? They're all walking, they're all backs to. There was 3 things that I noticed. One was the zonal positions not picking up the Chelsea players. Majority of them are at the edge of the box. So we had several players at the near post when no one was attacking that. So you have Sterling free. If that ball goes to the back post, Sterling's free tap in. I know it's Sterling, so you never know if he's going to score it. But either way, And then you've got Koulibaly, fair play to him. What a finish. What a hit. But
great finish.
You should never allow, a player like that should never be allowed to even get a shot off.
But it was alarming to me that it wasn't just that the goal, that he was totally free. It was like every set piece.
Exactly. And then to make matters worse, you put on top of all of that, players turning their backs to the ball when the shot comes in.
As always. And that's Dyer. He's a culprit for that. Eric Dyer.
It was Son. It was Bentancur. It was Højbjerg. It was Davis and Dyer. Well, to be fair to Dyer, he wasn't involved in that because he was in the wrong position anyway. Dyer should have been the one picking up Koulibaly. He's the only one capable of matching him for physicality. So what on earth we were doing, I don't know. But I mean, it's just, again, I said Emerson had a good game. I thought Emerson was dealing with a lot. And actually, for the reason that I gave, those goals didn't come from that right-hand side, bar the Kulu one. But that, again, it was switched to the right and then came back in, And I also thought Perisic looked good when he came on, but that was probably because he had fresh legs and his delivery was amazing for the corner. But actually, I mean, think about that. There was a free kick that he hit and another corner that he did, which were just absolutely
one that didn't even go past the first man. That was.
I mean, it was just But to be honest, he made up for that with that delivery, that second delivery. I mean, that was just nuts. And for me, actually, the only player other than Emerson that had what I thought was actually a pretty superb cameo was his compatriot, Richarlison.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a completely different dynamic with him on. He was pressing even after that goal. The first thing he did after we equalised was he sprinted forward and he slid in and made a block.
Yeah,
he looked tricky. He looked tricky, and he was everything I wanted to see out of Richarlison. So, I think the team on Sky Sports, as you would have all seen, we're highlighting why is Conte not using his bench? Why is he not using the new signings? I think after today's performance, Richarlison ought to start, and Perisic ought to start as well. I think it's quite clear where that fits into the team. I don't know, but that's a whole nother discussion in terms of the tactics of the team. But yeah, I mean, it's clear that what we saw today wasn't good enough.
But I want to touch on the Richarlison thing because it's sort of... So when we brought him on, we went to a 4-4-2. So, Lee, I'm going to ask you, were you happy with the formation change or not? Because when he came on, I was quite surprised about Husakov. So I was Sessegnon. Not surprised that it was Sessegnon, just the position. And then obviously Davies shifted into the back four as a left back. Kulusevski went to the right. Son went to the left. Obviously, the same two remained. But did you think that it made like a huge difference? Because I felt like we were more attacking, but at the same time, we felt a lot more open.
Yeah.
And I think Chelsea actually created more chances when we played a 4-4-2. And Conte later on realised, we need to change it back. But do you think we'll be seeing more of this now we have Richarlison?
You asking me? Or?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh yeah. From what I got from it, I saw that. Obviously, noticed the change, but that's Conte in a nutshell, isn't it? You know, it wasn't working. What we were doing before with that formation, it's just not working in that game against Chelsea, right? So I applauded it. I thought, do you know what? He's got the balls to actually tell. Well, it's Conte. He's always got the balls to do what he wants, but he had the balls to, actually bring those players on. And I bet people going, fuck's sake, why are they bringing him and why are they taking him off? All right, Cess, he didn't hardly do anything the whole game, to be fair.
No,
but,
it wasn't great.
So that was warranted. But yeah, I mean, the moment Richarlison came on, you can see the change. You can see that dynamic that all right, yes, we were a little bit more open. Yes, we were. But things were coming off more often for us in the whole scheme of things. I don't mean it was groundbreaking and we was fucking attacking 24. You know what I mean? I just mean things that we tried before in the formation were sort of coming off and we were progressing a little bit. I'm not saying it was groundbreaking. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, yes, it was. I think it took Chelsea by surprise a little bit. It took him 5-10 minutes to sort of realise, hang on a minute, we need to sort of, because that's when you saw them stick the full, do you see how narrow they played in the centre as well? Do you see that? See how many players they brought into the centre? It was consistently 4. I don't know if you noticed it. I was like, shit. And they knew we had no choice but to go out wide in the end. And that's another thing that really, I know we do it with our wing backs anyway, but what I'm trying to say is like they pressured us to go out there because they knew we were just shocking.
It was humility, wasn't it? It was humility from Conte. A bit of, actually holding his hands up. He got it wrong tactically today.
Yeah.
But I think what this does do is this raises the debate over, do we play a 3-4-3 or do we play a 3-5-2? Because clearly we were outdone in midfield. And I think we needed to pack that midfield. And I think actually the 4-4-2 works if your wingers are Perisic and Moura, but it doesn't work if your wingers are Son and Kulusevski, because neither of them are good enough defensively and neither of them were getting back and doing their job defensively. No. You've got to put in a hell of a shift. Think about the days of when we had Aaron Lennon and Aaron Lennon would win tackles as a right back almost when he would track back, and Gareth Bale could do the same. We can't do that with Kulusevski and Son. It ends up more as a 4-2-4 than a 4-4-2. And so I think what I would have done, and this was a conversation I think, I think you were in one of the group chats where I was saying this and Jonathan was saying it as well, is, take off Kulusevski and Højbjerg. For Basuma and for Richarlison, and you drop Kane perhaps into a 10 and you play Son and Richarlison up top and you have a bit more
Kane's like roaming
midfield. You have a bit more protection. There's other ways of doing it, but I think we needed a 3 in midfield, to be honest. But it's okay. We can play the 3-4-3 against the lesser teams. But let's face it, Chelsea play the 3-4-3 system better than we do.
And they've been playing it a lot longer than we have. I'm not making excuses for us.
Conte was the one that brought it in, and Tuchel was able to.
Do you think they had better wing backs than us, for example?
Yes.
I thought so too.
Yes.
Massively.
Like Cucurella and James are a lot better than ours.
But
if we had those 2 wing backs, we would have scored more. Sorry.
Yeah, both are much better on the ball, right?
Yeah.
We think we'd agree that.
Yeah.
Cucurella was arguably Chelsea's best passer of the ball today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Reece James had the best delivery. So, and for all that Emerson did well, we know his problems. We know that he doesn't have delivery in the final third. But also there were a couple of moments where Emerson had no choice but to kind of hit and hope into the box. Such was the lack of movement from our front players. And that was really concerning to see, because these are the big games. These are the games where this team needs to step up, show that they're serious, show their ambition. And they showed spirit and dug in and got, albeit very controversial point that, definitely the second goal, we're looking at a different situation if the referee gives a foul, which he should do. We all know that's a foul from Romero on Cucurella. There's no need for him to do it. But
it was a great foul, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. No, but it was
clever foul. Clever foul.
Of the game. It was the not showing up at the start of the game. Because other than actually, we had a really good chance at the start. Kulusevski had a basic ball to Son. You'd think simple pass for him.
Yeah.
Put Son in so that he can step onto the ball rather than having to kind of spoon it between his legs because it was kind of behind where he was going. Son 99% of the time would score that 1-0. 3 minutes in, we're looking at a different game perhaps because it's a confidence thing. But we were really, really badly beat today, and I was on the phone to my dad and I said that could have been a Brentford Man United score at half time.
Oh, easily. Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
So we need to, be pleased, obviously, that we got a point, but I think that really shows we've got work to do in the window before it shuts. And I think the main point of that, yes, at the back, we know that, but actually the role that Mason Mount played, we don't have a player that can do that. And I think actually now is the time that I think genuinely, I think we do need a progressive 8. I don't think we need a 10. I don't think we need a Madison Zaniolo type, but more, this is super ambitious, but a Milinkovic Savage type. It doesn't matter how much money they're going to cost. You should pay whatever money a team says to get a player of that quality in there that can do the defensive side, but can really a Frank Lampard, what Ali used to be for us. That's what we need.
Yeah, exactly.
We mentioned
Ndombele. That's what we need is Ndombele, right?
With
but
a
not
work
Ndombele. The work rate. No, but the progression that he does, he's got the ball at his foot, it sticks to his foot. He can progress that ball, pass it through, pass what he needs to do, put a through ball in. That's what we're missing, and we're getting rid of him. But I'm not saying keep him, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we need a player like that, but we're getting rid of one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we need a player like that with the right attitude.
Exactly.
He clearly doesn't have the right attitude. So we're looking at maybe more realistically a Zielinski at Napoli. Or there's a few in the Bundesliga that have, stood out as well. What's his name?
Szoboszlai? I don't say that name.
Szoboszlai, that's the one.
Yeah.
I
can't say that name right.
Hungarian, yes. Yeah, a player like that. Someone that is gonna
it's a bit
do things.
Josh, Sabitzer, because we've been linking him for a long time. Is he for sale or not?
No, I don't think so. He went to Bayern and he's
on Bayern now.
Yeah, I don't think that Sabitzer. I don't think Sabitzer is. He went last season. Yeah, I don't think Sabitzer's the answer either. But do you know what we need? We need our version of Kevin De Bruyne. That's a lot to ask for. But we see how De Bruyne now plays in that midfield. He doesn't play as a 10 anymore. He plays.
He drops off, doesn't he?
He plays as an 8. That's what we need. We need someone with that level of distribution and that work rate. And we're lacking that.
Savage isn't a bad idea, but we haven't really been linked with him much.
He wants to leave, but are Tottenham prepared to spend 50, 60, 70 million?
So that's the problem, isn't it, Josh, right? But this is what we were saying before when it has, right? We never just go, there you go, there's the money. You know what I mean? It's never as straightforward. Why can Chelsea go into the market and go, bang, 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 there you go? Forest, all right, they're getting the caliber of player they're getting because they need it. I get that. 15, 16, probably 18 players they've got now. I don't even know how many it is now. It's so high, but they're going bang, bang, left, right, and centre.
Cucurella has one. They just went 62 mil. Here you go.
Could have gone, there you go. It's 62 million.
Yeah, but I think it's because they've just had a takeover and that changes, I think, the financial fair play stuff and they've got the money to spend. And Todd Bowley was at the game today and he was celebrating like a fan.
I know he would, yeah.
It's exactly what Premier League fans cynically worry about American owners, but he was everything that Chelsea fans would want. And I think Chelsea fans will be doing this, rubbing their hands together, thinking we've got money, we're going to spend it. This is Chelsea completely and utterly destroying Spurs today. They still need number 9 and another midfielder.
Yeah.
But this is Chelsea far off what they will be when they make some signings.
Yeah.
And they are streets above us at the minute.
They are.
So that's where I think we need to seriously think, actually maintaining our position in 4th this year is perhaps where we're at. And if we
Oh
can
yeah,
get third,
it is.
and if
That's
we
exactly
can get
where we're at.
third, if we can get third, brilliant. But barring some freak incident, and maybe that was a blip, and I hope the team proves me wrong, and it was a blip today, and it was the heat getting to the players or what have you. But we're still unbeaten. We're fourth still, technically. I don't know how, but we're fourth. Anything can happen, I suppose. But yeah, we're seriously struggling, aren't we?
Yeah.
With that result today. I mean, we're seriously not where we probably all thought we were before the game.
Lee, were you expecting us to come out with a different mindset at all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've had Conte for over 7 months now.
Mm.
We did show that mindset. We have shown that mindset in the past with other games. Why is it we can do it against City, Liverpool? Have that mindset.
Exactly.
All right, Leicester towards the end of the season come make that comeback. But that's one thing I will praise Spurs for. There's, we didn't deserve to win that game how we won it, but how we pressed on with the mentality we had of never giving up, which before we wouldn't have had that. So that's one thing I do praise Spurs for, and Conte and the team. Not necessarily they didn't have the right play or they played rubbish, or I'm talking about mentality-wise. They pushed forward and they got them 2 goals. Okay, it was controversial. Of course it was. But I'm praising them on that side of things. You know what I mean? Regardless of who should have had a red card or whatever, we got a point. All right, we shouldn't be going celebrating it and freaking booking the tour or anything like that, bus or anything like that. But I'm just saying, for the situation we were dominated, we were made to look stupid in that game. We got the piss ripped out of us, right? And we still managed to come back, get 2 goals, and get a point out of that game.
And that's huge. That is absolutely huge.
We wouldn't have had that mentality 6 months ago, a year ago, I don't think.
Liverpool could go and win the league this year, right? I mean, it's going to be hard to stop City. I think we all agree City's probably, clearly the favourite. But say Liverpool go and win the league this year, and you'll look at that 2-2 draw at Fulham. They weren't good. They were dominated for huge spells in that game. But they managed to get back into it, and they managed to get a point twice coming from behind.
Yeah.
Spurs twice came from behind, and that was against Chelsea. That wasn't against Fulham. That was against Chelsea. That's massive for us. That is massive, massive, massive for us. And actually, as long as we win all the games we should be winning, which is Wolves, Nottingham Forest.
I think we've got Fulham next, haven't we?
Fulham Wolves at home.
It's Wolves, then Forest, then Fulham.
Yeah.
Is it 2 away games after Wolves, isn't it? I think.
Maybe, I don't know, but we've got Fulham as well.
We've got West Ham as well away. I think.
Those next 4 games are must win for Spurs.
Yeah.
And if Spurs can go out and in their first 6 games have 5 wins and 1 draw,
brilliant.
We're talking. Now we're talking. This is what the club needs to do.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this is where the club should be. This is where the club, if you win 5 out of 6 and draw and you go unbeaten for that first 6 games, then we can start having that conversation of, maybe we are where we should be, or we are on that level of Chelsea, City, Liverpool, because it's going to come down to those games against the top 6, particularly those away games, which are going to be a lot harder this year. And this is the thing. Our problem has historically been, we drop points against the teams below us that we shouldn't be dropping points to. If we can iron that out, if we can get rid of that, and we can dispatch those teams home and away, of course we're in with a shout.
And we also got to remember as well, Josh, right? We've got players that are not fully integrated into the full 11. Yeah. Your Perisic, your Basuma, we got. I mean, they're 2 key. Can be 2 key players. They're not at their full potential. All right, I know we weren't at our full potential at all today. I get that. What I'm trying to say is, once we get them firing, I think things will start to look a little bit different. We'll be a little bit more confident on the ball. We'll have a bit more progressive play. I just think at the moment, I mean, Richarlison's sort of taken like duck to water, isn't he? I fucking love that bloke. But I'm just saying, once we get those key players in, fully integrated, firing, gelling with the other players, I think it'll be a different story. I'm not saying we're going to be smashing it. I'm just saying stability-wise, confidence going forward, playing these bigger teams. There's plenty of games to what we've got 36 games left. There's plenty of games left.
I think Jed Spence is going to be really interesting. So he was obviously out today, and Ali Gold suggested a hint of an injury or fitness issue.
Yeah.
Michael Bridge said something completely different. I don't know if you saw his tweet. He said apparently Tanganga was chosen because he could play centre half or something.
Oh, so more of a selection thing and more of a tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know which one who was correct. I saw both
I
tweets.
also think that as much as Michael Bridge I love, and he is Spurs, and he's good with Spurs, Ali Gold is undisputed, isn't he? And I feel like, yes, there's that element, but Tanganga's probably fitter at this moment in time. And he gets the team, he gets the system, he's been under Conte longer. But Spence, let's not underestimate the attacking threat that he can provide, which Emerson can't, So actually, I think looking forward, Spence will come into the team, will probably start for us a lot. That's going to be a different threat. Perisic will start. That's going to be a different threat. Suddenly, Spurs look a lot stronger as a team. I actually think, though, after today, we really need another midfielder.
We do.
I think we need a defender as well. I think we
definitely need a defender. But I think that I was very worried by what I saw from Højbjerg and Bentancur today.
Yeah.
And
I was going to ask you about Bentancur.
Will come in, but he's not an attacking threat.
No. I was going to ask you about Bentancur, Josh, because me and Lee really, really praised him last week because I thought he was man of the match in Southampton. What did you think of him today, and why? Because he definitely struggled, but why was that the case?
I've been slated for this in the past. I say that Bentancur plays really well, phenomenal against the lesser teams, but he never shows up in the big games. I don't know if it's a physicality thing, but actually, to me, it looked like a fitness thing. It looked like he didn't have the engine on him to bomb up and down the pitch, mark his man. He didn't know who he was marking. He was constantly left with an overload, and part of that is definitely down to Conte. But there is absolutely no excuses for him and Højbjerg. I can think of one Højbjerg pass in particular out the edge of the box, which he gave straight to a Chelsea player. But there's no excuses for the Spurs players to be so slow on the ball that Chelsea players are running in and nicking the ball off of them. Pass is sloppy. It's basics of playing centre midfield at this level.
Yeah.
And actually, as much as I really can't stand Harry Winks, that's something I will praise Harry Winks for. Is Harry Winks is good at recycling the ball.
But he's just not good at going forward, is he?
He's not good at going forward. He's not good defensively, but he recycles the ball.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weight on Bentancur and Bissouma's shoulders now. We know what we've got with Højbjerg. It's not a case of, let's see how he develops. Bentancur's only been at the club for 6 months, 7 months in terms of actual playing.
Coming back as well.
Skip. Yeah, but Skip's, Skip is Skip. Injuries seem at the minute to be blighting his time at the club, which is a real shame in the first team, because he's obviously been at the club for years. Skip has all the potential in the world, but I think Skip is a natural progression on Højbjerg. As soon as he can get fit and get a run in the team, he'll replace Højbjerg. Yeah. But there's a lot of weight of expectation on Bissouma's shoulders and on Bentancur's, because we always like to compare that sort of silky midfielder to Moussa Dembele. And he's nowhere near Moussa Dembele, nor is Bissouma at this point in time, But what we need is a Moussa Dembele. He might not score goals, but someone that will run forward, glide past 3 or 4 players, and 99% pass accuracy.
Do you think Bissouma could be that player, though?
Well,
he's more progressive, isn't he?
Yeah.
But again, time will tell. I don't think that you think of Bissouma, you think he's more defensive-minded, don't you?
I don't know. It's almost like a more box-to-box player. But
the box-to-box one that was at Brighton was Mwepu. That was the one that I think is that box-to-box kind of, and in many ways might have been a more suitable signing for this team. But I absolutely, I don't want to slate Bissouma at all, because he's not had any minutes.
No, he's not really been integrated.
He doesn't fully fit to me either, even when he came on.
I'd like him to start against Wolves.
Same, yeah.
with
Do
Højbjerg.
you know what? I would actually
No,
like. I know this is controversial, but I'd like to see Spence start for the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, see what happens, or even the first half, because I think a lot of people are a little bit underestimating him a little bit. He's
Like
going to be
me,
hungry.
probably.
No, but look at Richarlison coming. No, I'm
Yeah.
not slating you guys or anything.
No,
I'm
I know. I'm
saying,
just saying because I'm not a big fan. So.
no, but in general, what I
Yeah.
mean is like, look how Richarlison reacted when he come on.
Yeah.
Hungry, chasing everything down. Jed Spence, 21 years old, on that wing. Do you know what I mean? You never know. I mean, it can, things can surprise. It might be what we need in them
It's a
games.
fitness thing, though. It's a fitness thing.
It is a fitness thing. I know
Richarlison is lightning quick, very,
Yeah.
very fit. Didn't have any problems with injury. Was playing
No.
consistently in the Premier League. This, is a step up for Spence, and he will take a bit of time. But I think, I'd like to see him given minutes. Certainly, when the wing back switch, I'd like to see him given good 30 minutes. Hopefully, we've closed the game out by then. But Wolves is going to be a tough test. Wolves is not going to be easy. They haven't looked good so far. I mean, I think it's a draw and a loss. But Wolves will be confident coming to Spurs, watching how he played yesterday. They've got a good midfield. So they'll think we'll just do exactly what Chelsea did. And we'll frustrate the life out of them. We'll have a low block and then we'll crowd them out in midfield when they're on the ball. So unless we've got another option, I think our best bet would actually be, and I think Conte would be a genius to do this, would be to not go with your expected 11 or not go with your expected shape, perhaps. Maybe go for the 3-5-2 next week. Start Richarlison, start Kane. And maybe, just maybe, as much as we don't want to see it, put Son on the bench. And I never thought I'd ever say that. But actually, Son was piss poor today.
He's been awful the past couple of
games. We always slate Lucas Moura for his first touch, but Son's first touch is just as bad, if not worse. It's just that Son scores loads of goals.
Yeah.
Son's more the guy at the end of things. Like even today, what he really needs to work on. I've heard other people say this. I don't know if it was in our group chat, but his back to goal work is not very it's not very good. And today, even he was holding onto the ball way too long. Like he'd get it, start dribbling, trying to take on like 3 or 4 players. I'm just like, just release.
He's a winger, though, isn't it? I think Richarlison's the one that's proven his hold-up play was good because his hold-up play was excellent.
Yeah, it was brilliant when it came on.
But I think actually maybe we need to be brave, and maybe we need to take a tough decision and start Richarlison
with Kane,
bench Son, and Son. That's a clear message to Son that he's got to work harder and he's got to step up his game. And then you bring Son off the bench. That's going to frighten the life out of Wolves. And that's going to give us a completely new dimension when he comes on. And if Son gets benched, he'll be angry. He'll be really, really angry. He'll be really frustrated. He'll have a real fire in his belly to say, I don't ever want to be benched again. Don't ever bench me again. And then he'll come on and he'll score 1 or 2 goals. That's what I'd like to see. A lot of Spurs fans will probably shoot me down for that, but I think that that's common sense.
No, we need to change it up. That's the problem. Teams are seeing us come in with the same 11, right? Pretty much every game because they know that's the strongest 11 we have or the one that gets most results.
It's the consistency thing.
And all they've got to do is, like Josh said, all they've got to do, teams have got to do is put exactly what Chelsea done, exactly what Southampton did to us when they went down to 10 men, is crowd that midfield out because they know as soon as that happens, we've got to utilise our wing backs, and our wing backs are shat.
I mean, I could tell you straight away, this should be for me the starting 11 next week. Lloris in goal, Emerson, Romero, Dyer, Davis. I know Davis had a shocker, but I think he, more often than not, he's very good. Perisic. Then a midfield 3 of Højbjerg, Basuma and Bentancur, Richarlison and Kane up top. Because Kane and Son should not be sitting pretty thinking that their starting place is guaranteed. Things are different now, or they should be different this season. And as much as they are our star boys, and rightly so, and we love them to pieces, and they are dynamite, they are world-class players. World-class players are only world-class if their performances are world-class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There was
when you're done.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I hate Souness. I think he's delusional most of the time, but he made a really good point. He talked about Jock Stein when he was at Celtic, right? And he said, don't judge a player for how good they were, judge them for how good they are right now. And then that's how you make a decision on a player. And right now, Son and Kane aren't really delivering. I know Kane scored the
He was
header.
talking about Aubameyang, wasn't he? I think.
He was talking
Yeah.
about Aubameyang, and he was talking about at the time.
Dortmund,
but I think that very much applies to us and Son and
Yeah.
Kane right now. If they're not going to perform, and other players are hungry, they need a bit of knocking down a peg, because that makes them hungry. That makes them want to deliver. I think Kane can't be benched because, whether we like it or not, Kane can score a goal out of nothing, and he did score today. So, but Son didn't. And actually, the other thing that you'd notice is there was another player missing from that, which was Kulusevski.
He didn't play well at all today.
Kulusevski and Son both dropped, in my opinion. Imagine having those two off the bench and Moura.
I was going to touch on Lucas quickly and also Doherty. I know Doherty didn't play, but also we have this right wing back issue, right? Do you think it was quite strange that he brought on Lucas instead of Doherty, for example, today? Because
we were a goal down.
Yeah.
Doherty's not going to make stuff happen going forward.
But do you think Lucas, in the long run, this is going to become his position, if that makes sense?
I think so. I don't know what you think, Lee. I know he did it against Rangers.
Yeah.
And where do you fit him into the team now?
I know. I think he's definitely got potential as that to play in that position. And I suppose what we've seen, it's not been overly great, but there's potentially something there that he could fall into, into that position. I think he could. But are we going to get the inconsistent Lucas as from before, regardless of the position? Is it going to make him hungry to be in that? You know what I mean? If he knows he's going to be starting in that team, in that position. Because don't get me wrong, I like Lucas. I think I think he's a good player. I just think he's lost his way. He's lost a bit of confidence. I think something's going on with him. Mentality. I don't know what's going on with him. But I think he can pull it. Yeah, I think he could pull it off. But I just think, I don't know. It's not for me at the moment. He could do it, but I don't know. I just think he'll slip back into that inconsistency.
I was thinking actually about Moura and what you were saying. And the best performances I've seen from Lucas in a Spurs shirt is when he plays as a 10.
Yeah.
As a centre attacking mid.
Yeah.
And we've been saying we need a more attacking midfield option. We know that Lucas doesn't shirk a tackle. We know that he is aggressive. He can go forward.
With Mourinho as a 10, right? Wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. And actually, maybe that's where he should go. And maybe, I'm not going to say start Lucas, but that's an option if we're not going to bring a player in. But I still think we need to bring.
Absolutely,
for sure.
I think we need at least two players.
Definitely.
I think that performance, though, I don't think Conte and Paratici and Levy are idiots as much as.
I'll be right back, guys. Doors going 2 seconds. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
I know a lot of us, we don't rate Levy, but they're not idiots. Conte will be the first at his door on Monday morning saying, look, tomorrow morning saying we need
players.
Two more players. We're not there yet. You saw that performance.
I was going to mention Conte, actually. The Conte versus Tuchel stuff. What do you think about it?
Well, I think Tuchel clearly, both of them. I think Tuchel was great in the media, actually. He was brilliant in the media today. It's a rivalry. It's two equally passionate managers that are of the Jurgen Klopp kind of style of very in your face, would run down into the corner to celebrate with the team if you score a last-minute goal. You're always running the risk of getting in trouble with the fourth official. But, Conte celebrates in his face when we eat right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Not really on. We loved it, but...
I thought it was brilliant, honestly. I thought it was brilliant.
As far as the rest are concerned, though, it's not on. But I just thought that Tuchel was a petulant child at the end.
Yeah.
Just shake the hands. Doesn't matter if you
no eye contact.
Eye contact.
Yeah.
Just shake his hand and leave it. Do you know what I mean? That's it. Don't
Conte is so funny because Conte was like,
Yeah, like why you? Yeah.
well, let go kind of thing.
Yeah,
Let go.
Yeah.
And then I saw Tuchel sort of do this with his
Yeah.
fingers. Well, some probably said something like, "What? Don't you make eye contact?" or something like that. And then that's it. Then it just went bang. It's crazy.
But like it was kind of brewing earlier in the game, obviously, because they had that thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, do Conte and Tuchel even have like a previous rivalry? I don't think they do.
No.
As far as I know.
Two passionate managers.
Yeah.
But it was really, really stupid because we now not got Conte on the touchline for Wolves. And that's a game we really need to win. I mean, are we going to put Conte's brother? I mean, they look like similar. Are we going to give Conte's brother a hair transplant or a wig in the middle of the week? You know, I worry about that because I can only see Ryan Mason being the one that's going to do the shouting on the touchline. Yeah, because Conte's got assistants, but Ryan Mason's the only one that I suppose we're used to seeing there because we saw him there before.
How about the guy, the bald guy? What's his name? I don't know his name.
Oh, he's just security.
Is he just security? Oh,
I think he's just security. The big guy.
The white bald guy.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, the English bald guy. Yeah, he's
the one I thought was going to like beat up Levy in that meeting.
No, I think he's I think he's a strength and conditioning coach or something.
Is he? Oh, right. Okay, it makes sense.
No, it's stroke bodyguard.
It's the guy with the receding hair, right? This is such. We knew Poch and Jesus Perez and Miguel D'Agostino. We knew them, but actually, with Conte's staff, we don't know their names. I don't think most of us.
No, I just know their faces. That's
Christian Stellini is the one. The Christian Stellini is the assistant manager.
Stellini.
No, I can't even picture him. The one with who's the old guy with the white? Oh, right, yeah,
him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Manager.
Oh, yeah.
He was at Wolves. I mean, not at Wolves, Inter as well. He'll be the one on the touchline, and I'm sure he's going to be great. But again, it's not good. But maybe, just maybe, this is a blessing in disguise because Conte will get to watch it from up top
and see how bad it is,
and he'll get to see the tactical side of game football, and he'll get to analyze for himself and see where he's going wrong.
So I was going to ask about the tactics, right? Do you think this changed to a 4-4-2 because of the addition of Richarlison is going to be like a thing, or do you think this was like a one-off?
One-off reactive, wasn't it? We needed a goal. The formation wasn't working. So for me, it's going to be 3-5-2.
Or 3-4-3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's very... I love Conte, but I find him quite stubborn when it comes to formation changing.
He sticks with what works for him, and he's always done that. We know that. We knew that before he even, we got inkling of him coming. We knew we was going to be pushed into that formation straight away, and it can work, but we just don't have the players to make it work. That's the problem, Guarantee you, if we had Reece James and Cucurella as our wing backs, that formation would work. It's as simple as that. I mean, I'm not a coach, but going by judging what I've seen,
do you think the difference today was the fact that, I mean, obviously Chelsea have beaten off the past 3 times anyway, and today I was like extremely grateful that we got a draw in the end. Considering
we're very lucky to get a draw. We should be celebrating it. We should be going, do you know what? We're lucky to get that, but we showed spirit towards the end. That's what we should be doing.
That's probably the difference. But like you mentioned, I think maybe it was Josh, that the 3-4-3 is something that Chelsea have been playing for like a longer period.
Yeah.
Right? Because they've obviously done it under Tuchel, they've done it under Conte before that. And I'm sure they did it under another manager. Maybe it was, I don't remember who it was, but off the top of my head.
Sarri,
was it Sarri? Yeah, maybe it was Sarri.
Could have been, yeah.
I mean,
it wasn't Mourinho, was it? Wasn't
no,
Mourinho
didn't. He went 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 is normal.
But
is it because partly they have tactical edge because of the fact they played it longer than us?
I think as well, that as well. But I think because they've been together a lot longer as well. We got to remember that Chelsea are just adding to what they've got. Remember what we said last week?
Yeah.
All right, they're replacing pretty much their defense. They're going to be doing that, right? We know that. But I don't know. We're trying to. Yeah, they have been playing a lot longer, so they're more gelled with it. They understand the situation, where to be, where players are meant to be, and stuff like that. With Spurs, it's a new thing. All right, yes, we've been doing it for 6-7 months, but it just takes longer for some teams for it to sort of grind in there and get in there and, you know, get used to what we're doing. I know people say, well, it's 7 months, you should know what you're doing. But I don't know, you know. I think it will come good at some point, but we need the players to back it up. That's the half the problem. We get the players in that are capable of doing what Conte wants majority of the game or majority of the matches through the season, then we'll have a better season and we'll be more successful when it comes to that. I just stop the sentimentality with Spurs, get rid of the players that you know that ain't good enough and get the players that you need, because until we do that, we're not going to push forward. We're not going to push forward with players like Cess and although Emerson had a good game, we're not going to push forward with Emerson either.
We're not.
Because he hasn't got that full package we need as a wing back. Don't get me wrong, right? Some of the defensive work he's done today, of course, he got us out with the headers, you know, the touches and stuff. Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? I'm not slating the bloke. I'm just saying, like today he had an okay game. Like Josh said, I think he said he was one of the better players today. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's long term. It's not just about one game, is it? It's about being consistent throughout. And I know a player can't be consistent every single. I get that, but you be more consistent than not. I mean, that's just a recipe for failure, isn't it? And that's what's happening. And that's our problem.
I think with Emerson, with him, I think he lacks like the dynamism and the athleticism to be a wing back.
Yeah, he's got the engine.
His defensive work is actually all right. It's not that bad.
If you stuck him in a back four, he'd be a lot better than he is as a wing back.
Yeah.
But
he's not the answer. He really isn't the answer, right?
He isn't the answer, but we've got him and we've got to make use of him. And that's the thing. You know, like I said, we got options there.
If Conte didn't want him, he wouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Conte rates him. That's why he's there. I've just come to terms with that now, and that's the thing.
Don't you think it has anything to do with the clique of like Lucas, Richarlison, and
because he was, he was arguably our best player today.
But we were saying in terms of like as a wing back,
as a fully fledged wing back, Josh,
his delivery
ain't the answer. As a defensive player in a back four, he will be a player for us.
But he's a good squad player. He's not, eventually we've signed Spence for him to start, right?
Yeah.
But Emerson is there, and in these games, Emerson is exactly who you want, because it's not about Tottenham is never going to Chelsea and dominating the game like Chelsea did to us. It's never going to happen. You know?
Is that because of the team we got and the players we got now? Because I guarantee you, if we had better players in those positions, and overall, we would be a better.
We could only do that if we were as good as Manchester City and Liverpool for a number of years, and we've won a Premier League title. Yeah, that's the level of player. That's the level we've got to get to before we're going to sign anyone good enough. You know, we need to win a Premier League title, and then we can talk about Achraf Hakimi, right? Hakimi is the player that would do that. But we need to win a Premier League title before we can sign a player like Hakimi, realistically.
But isn't that the issue in itself, that we need to start acting as if like we can do that? No, so we should go and sign Hakimi first, and then we'll win the title.
No, because they won't join Tottenham. Why would you join Tottenham over another club that is going to win the league? That's the thing. That's the reality.
Well, let's be real. It's only City and Liverpool.
Yeah,
Chelsea,
but
even Chelsea, as
they
are
now.
Win
the title.
The gap is so big.
Exactly.
The gap is so big that, and let's not forget, Kyle Walker's aging. Cancelo, plays a lot on the left for City.
Yeah.
So City might turn around and want Achraf Hakimi in next season or what have you. Liverpool is slightly different because Trent is so young. But Spurs are only going to get their Andy Robertson or their Achraf Hakimi by real, serious, good scouting and picking up a player that's performing well that perhaps isn't such a big name off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Robertson was linked with Spurs. He was at Hull, moved for, I think, 17 million or something. Spurs turned their noses at that because they thought it's too much money for a player that's not good enough or not proven enough. What a signing that was for Liverpool. That's why I've got hopes in Jed Spence, because I've seen that quality. I've seen that quality. But we're not going to dominate at Chelsea. We need to be realistic. And in a game like
we're
that,
not, no.
rather a player with the players we've got, someone that is competent at defending, which I think Emerson is more than our other options thus far.
So who's our other options with Emerson? We've got Emerson, obviously Jed Spence.
Doherty. And Tanganga might play there. Mora might play there.
So do you think Emerson's better than Doherty?
Yes.
What?
I don't agree
overall?
Yes. Doherty had a couple of good games and got injured. Doherty's got to prove that to me still. The other thing is Emerson's 23 years old and has shown huge signs of improvement already. I'm not saying he's great.
I agree, he has improved. No, I agree, he has improved.
Doherty's 31 years old. He's not going to get any better than he currently is.
No, I think he's hit his ceiling.
He's not at the level. You know, Doherty works in the smaller games. But even then...
Can you level the same criticism to someone like Lucas? Because Lucas is, 29?
Yeah. No, absolutely. But Lucas...
Can you say, he can't improve as a wing-back because of his age?
No, because I think we're looking at two different things. We're looking at Doherty, who is a wing-back. That is his position. That is his favoured position. Established himself as a right wing-back. And we're looking at Lucas Moura, who's been a winger, a number 10, an attacking player that is now looking to potentially transition into a wing back in the way that Perisic did. So I think it's a slightly different conversation. It would be like if Doherty was to transition into a centre back. That would be the comparable thing.
Or Emerson to a centre back.
Or Emerson. Do you know what? That's not even a bad shout. That sounds crazy. But I think Emerson's good enough in the air. And he's quite good at making his tackles.
Yeah, his aerial ability. I've got to give it to Emerson. I can't fault him for that. That's what I've always said that, and I've always said that. His aerial ability.
Maybe that's not the craziest idea in the world further down the line.
I don't know. I just don't know if I could sleep knowing he's in being centre back for us.
Knowing Emerson's playing.
Do you know what I mean?
I couldn't sleep if Sanchez was starting.
I know, right?
That's why we need a centre back. That's why we need a centre back.
And that's more scary that we've got players like that. We think like that. Because
we're so over-reliant
on the bench
on Romero to do everything for us.
Because I think Romero, for me, is almost like he's cleaning up the mess of Dias.
That's exactly what he's there for.
Yeah.
That is 100%. That's half the work he does.
But he was off.
He still does the stupid things,
but he wasn't great today. Let's be honest.
No, he wasn't. He was poor.
You know what I mean? I praise him for the tackles on Mount. That tackle in the corner on Mount.
Oh yeah,
that was outstanding. I don't know if he got the ball. I don't think he got the ball, but it was good tackle anyway. They got a free kick from it anyway, but that's what I'm saying. He's rash, isn't he? But he's still young. I'm hoping Conte can rein him in a little bit because he is a bit rash, isn't he?
We've got years of Romero.
I hope so.
And unfortunately, we've got potentially years of Emerson as well.
Well, that's the thing, though. People say we got years, but you look at Kane, you look at Son, Luke. Yeah, I know, right? As I was like, oh, shit.
His reaction was incredible.
Man,
years of Emerson. It was like it was the grunt into your microphone.
He's like, no. But if you look at our squad, right, you got Kane, Son, Lucas, Lloris. Look at them; they're all past their late 20s, in their 30s, right? Apart from Son and Kane, obviously. Well, I know Son is 30 now, isn't he? But you know what I mean? They're getting there. You got 3 years of us actually
maximum, really.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to decline. I'm just saying if
Kane
going forward,
4 or 5 years, but 100.
No, Emerson.
I think Kane will transition into a midfielder like Rooney did, sort of.
Maybe. I think he's too hungry for it. I see him transitioning into more of a Glenn Murray, if you remember the celebration.
Yeah, Glenn Murray. Yeah.
But that's the thing. The key in the debate with Emerson and Doherty for me is Spurs should not be having players over the age of 30 in their squad unless they are top players with so much experience. Real established internationals that play in major tournaments. That's why I can get behind Davis being at the club. That's why I get behind Lloris still being there, although I think Lloris needs a replacing next summer. That's why I get behind Kane and Son obviously being there. That goes without saying. But we shouldn't be having players like Doherty, who isn't good enough to start for us realistically. Otherwise, he would be starting. He's 30, 31, isn't going to improve in his position, can't really defend very well. You know, that's the thing. I think if we're going to sign anyone or have anyone that age in the club, I want us to have Perisic, for example. That's where it works at that age.
Yeah. And we got more to come from him as well. He's just starting. I don't think... I know people can...
It's champions that we need in the team.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, agree.
So going forward then, with Wolves on Saturday... And Josh, you already told me your storyline, so I'm going to bother asking again. So, Lee, like, what changes would you make and why? Obviously, most of the team didn't play well, so if you want to change,
I'm with Josh. To be fair, so for the next game, whoever that's going to be, what did we say it was? I've forgotten
Wolves
already.
at home on Saturday.
Wolves, right? So Josh is bang on. To be fair, thinking back at it. Wolves are going to play exactly like Chelsea did today when they swamped that midfield out. They know us, right? All the teams know how we're going to play, right? And we're at home, aren't we?
And bear in mind, we lost them last season as well.
Yeah, we did lose to them. Yeah, we did. I think he will change it up. I think he will. It's not going to be a massive changes, maybe one or two players in, but I think Perisic will definitely start because they want that stability on that side. I think Cess just had a shite. He was just poor today. I think he won't. I don't think he'll start against Wolves at all. So I can see Perisic coming in definitely.
Which is weird because that's exactly the game that Sessegnon should be.
Exactly. Well, yeah, no, exactly right. But if you can't do that against a similar team, all right, Chelsea miles above Wolves, miles above us. Totally get that, and I agree with you. But I'm just saying. It needs freshening up. We need something different. Different players obviously bring different techniques, different style, right? Yes, they may play on the same position or on that same side, but they've got different ways of thinking, obviously, and what they got. And he's got experience, Perisic. He knows what. Cess is like gung ho. He means well. He knows what he should do, but he's like a deer in the headlights most of the time, isn't he? You know,
it's a really silly foul today.
It's just that execution, isn't it? It's the execution. It's like Cess actually, there were far worse players on the pitch today.
Yeah.
But, Cess didn't play the way that he played against Liverpool at Anfield, and he didn't, some of the games he had towards the back end of the season, he didn't have that same level of performance.
Yeah.
I think he was right to start him because I think he'd earned his place after that performance. I think you'd be crazy to drop him, given how well he played. But yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But I just put in our chat. So I did a poll on Twitter when my screen went off because I wanted to see what Spurs fans thought about my comment about Son.
Yeah.
And 81% said that actually maybe Son should be dropped in place, with Richarlison replacing him against Wolves, just to bring him back down to earth and give him that drive to come up and step up his game because let's face it, he's been really poor.
Yeah, but also to give us that fresh approach. Also to give us that fresh approach going into a tough Wolves, a tough game. Richarlison is hungry. You could see that from the moment he come on. Get him on. Let's spice it up a little bit. Get a bit of shithousery going on. Get him firing. And I'll tell you what, he'll bag a goal. He's due one. He'll get one.
There was one moment where he was offside, but the ball came into him.
Yeah.
But that gave me a lot of hope because he was making that run.
Yeah.
He was making that Jamie Vardy-esque run that we want to see our striker get in behind. He played like a number 9 today when he came on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked what I saw a lot.
He can't not start when he showed that level of desire, hunger and intensity.
Yeah.
And Wolves is a team he scored against and he's played well against for Everton. I think one of the best goals he scored for Everton was against Wolves and he ran down that left wing and put great finish into the bottom right-hand corner. And against a low block, which Wolves will provide, you want a player that can act fast, get in behind. Maybe it's going to be the Kane Richie combination instead of the Kane-Son combination.
I think it needs changing up regardless. It's got to. Something's got to happen. Something's got to be different. We can't keep going in the same, teams expecting the same thing from say they're already doing it. All right, it's 2 games in, but end of last season, that's what teams were doing. Right, let's play like this team that did before, do the low block, mid block, whatever it's going to be, and we'll stop Spurs. That's as simple as that. That's what it is. Yeah, well, that's what they got to do. Put 5 at the back.
Son, that I had to bring this up because people, I mean, obviously now you're saying Son just to be dropped, whatever, but do you think he's a bit of like a one-trick pony sort of thing? Because he's always on the end of things, apart from like that amazing goal he scored against Burnley. I can't remember a game where he gets Chelsea as well, but I can't remember a game where he was like doing something different, if that makes sense.
He got man-marked, didn't he? He got man-marked. He got man-marked by a world-class player in Reece James. And you could see when he came off, actually, Chelsea didn't really know what to do because their plan had, changed. But, I think he's obviously more than a one-trick pony. I mean, he is really good. He is, like, phenomenally good. But he's only as good as the players around him. I think that's actually something that perhaps we don't talk about a lot, is he stands out in this team. But more often than not, if our team plays bad, so does Son. And I think that's a home truth, really, because a lot of us Spurs fans, and I'm guilty of it, we have these sort of perhaps slightly... We have rose-tinted spectacles, a bit of semi-delusional view of Kane and Son, of being these incredible, incredible players, which they are. But how often, when our team doesn't perform, Kane and Son aren't performing as well? What Richarlison offers, which is slightly different, and Perisic has got a final ball like no other, and Richarlison quite literally does run around like a headless chicken, but in a good way.
Yeah.
He will run and run and run. He will jump into a tackle. He will win a free kick or a penalty, and that's something that we need to think about. I think the biggest criticism I had of Conte last season was the lack of plan B. And I don't think that 4-4-2 was a plan B. That was a panic. That was a panic.
It's like we need to score, let's change formations.
That was we're desperate. We need to try something different. Let's try this.
Because I've noticed against Chelsea, maybe because maybe it's just we've always been desperate, but he's used the 4-4-2 a lot more against them than against any other side.
Yeah.
Even last season, he played 4-4-2.
And it's out of desperation every time.
Yeah, he's like, I need to do something different, so let's just do 4-4-2.
What's key is that Chelsea have a phenomenal squad of players.
Yeah.
Even without their striker and maybe one more midfielder, their squad is still arguably better than ours on paper.
Yeah.
They, Kovacic was missing today. I mean, I would bite your hand off for Kovacic.
He's quality, isn't he?
Yeah. But it was reactionary. It was desperate. What happened against Brentford, I think that showed the lack of plan B. Brighton showed the lack of plan B. And this is where we really need to see that plan B, because plan A at the minute is becoming a bit predictable.
Yeah.
It works against most teams, but it doesn't on against the big teams. It doesn't against our competitors for, I suppose, the highest accolades in football, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's going into... See, what will make us more easy is, like you said, Josh, is going into games with a different... that option of that plan. And like you said, we did panic. I think it was a panic change. But you know what? It got the job done, I suppose, didn't it? In a way, it got a result we needed, or we shouldn't have had it. I understand that because of how we played, because it was shite completely. It was poor.
Yeah.
But something clicked when he changed it. I'm not saying we were performing well, but it was enough to make the game change, and to change and kick us on and have that sort of mentality to push us on and not give up. So I don't know. Do you know what? It's funny because as soon as Richarlison came on, that mentality kind of
changed.
That's kind of did. It's like they were running off of Richarlison's sort of energy. I know it sounds stupid, but they saw Richarlison running for the ball, going for it, and it kind of felt like, well, hang on a minute, he's doing it. We need to step up here. Well, that's what I like to hope anyway. But
He brought a
It
bit
was-
of aggression to us as well, which I said.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a fiery person.
He is Romero, but a striker version.
Yeah. It's good.
And we're here for the ride, aren't we? We love it.
Otherwise,
And you can see, apparently, they're really good. They've got on really, really well.
yeah.
Which is no surprise. I mean, they're South American. They're passionate about football.
And they're both shit
They will
houses.
die for their team.
Basically, yeah.
They will walk through fire for Conte. That's exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need. We just maybe could do with another Brazilian.
Paqueta, you saying?
Wow.
Yeah. No, the problem is though, we're having all these Brazilian and Argentines in the squad. When they go on, international duty, we're going to have hardly any squad left.
I mean, the World Cup's going to be an interesting thing on what effect it has on the season. I think
It's going to have a massive effect for us. It's definitely for us. All
most of our
teams,
players are going to go, right? I think.
but for the teams that ain't got great squad depth, that's when you're going to see.
It's going to hurt, isn't it? Yeah.
It's going to be issues.
So before I finish off, I'm going to get some closing thoughts on the game from both of you. So Lee first, because I know you have to go first anyway.
Say again, sorry.
Just some closing thoughts on the game and going forward, like just some thoughts, really.
My closing thought.
Yeah.
It was an awful game.
Yeah.
That's not what we should have been coming off of the back. And I know it's Southampton, but you thought having that buzz, that 4-1 win, that momentum, not talking about the result, just that momentum, and having this massive buzz around the club, I thought we would have pushed on a little bit more with Chelsea and give them a little bit more. So I'm very disappointed. But going forward, I just want us to win the match. I want us to do the basic things and just be good on the ball. Because at the moment, we're just losing too many balls. I mean, how many times did we lose possession today in the midfield? How many times give the ball away? Second balls, we weren't winning them. I just want us to be a little bit more dominant in that side of things. And there's no reason why we can't with the lower end teams,
Okay, so Josh, and go to you as well. Like, what are your closing thoughts?
In the words of Brendan Rodgers,
We show character.
Great human being.
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, great character, great delivery from Perisic. We've not improved the problems that we had last season. That's concerning. Still got a bit of time in the window. So, we've got 2 weeks. Let's act quickly. Let's act smart, and then we'll be all right. We'll be all right then, Wolves is a big game, though. If we can win that, because we lost that game last season. If we can go against Southampton and Wolves, 2 games that we lost last season, and have 3 points and quite a few goals there, scoring goals isn't going to be a problem for the team.
We didn't get anything at Chelsea either, so.
No, exactly. So scoring goals, 6 goals. City have scored 6 goals this season, haven't they? So we have scored. Us, City, and Arsenal, I think, are level on top on most goals scored. All scored 6. That's 3 goals a game. That's a great goals per game ratio to have.
Our attack's brilliant. It's just the spine, like the centre back.
It's getting to the attack. It's getting the ball to the attack.
It's that spine for me is the thing.
I think this is a bringing the team down to earth, humbling today.
Yeah.
Conte was humbled tactically, and I think that they'll all be quite unhappy with the performance, the level of the performance today. I mean, Conte in the media was prickly enough as it was. I think it showed he wasn't happy. So hard work on the training ground next week, and we go again on Saturday. Early kickoff this time.
Yeah.
So, a day less rest than Wolves, but they say
we're at home. So.
They say rest is for the weak, right? So
yeah,
we're at home. Let's make the lane a fortress again and 3 points, and then we won't even.
Hope so.
We'll be back to. Could we possibly challenge for trophies this season?
That's Spurs fans for you. It's like flip flop.
Oh, Twitter's just annoys me for that. It's so pathetic.
But we all go through that, don't we? We all think it. We might not want to say it, but we all think it.
In my case, I'd like to hope we do something, but it's got to be realistic. You know what I mean? I've been supporting him since I was 12, since 1992.
I think for us, win a title or something, I think certain things have to happen. And we just have to keep.
I'd like to see us third this season.
Like if Haaland got injured or something.
Well, I think realistically, if we can pull our finger out, we can get third and maybe win a trophy. Maybe
that's
win
what I want.
That would be
Yeah.
progression. But if we finished fourth and won a cup,
Same.
I'd
It's
be-
still
I'd be
good. Still
okay.
good.
I'd be-
Yeah.
yeah, of
I think
course it would
I
be.
think fourth in a cup is progression.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
is. We haven't
It's
won
showing
something
that
for 20
stability,
years.
isn't it?
Wait, we need to improve on our points tally from last
Oh,
season.
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
To bridge the gap between the top two. Yeah.
As soon as
We're going to have to be our absolute best to get third this season.
I've always said, right, is as soon as we make our stability better and we can stabilize ourselves in that top four for a season, for a two, whatever it is, and be consistent, like Josh said, with the points tally, yeah, that's when we will start pushing on because we'll have that confidence knowing, yes, we can maintain that. And that's when we will push on. But until then, we're hit and miss with game by game. I don't know what game I'm going into next week. Do you know what I mean? None of us
like
do.
when Conte joined, it was like that for a period, remember?
I mean,
Win
look-
one
yeah, but
week,
look
lose
at-
the next, win 1 week, lose
Yeah.
the other.
But it was the opposite, wasn't it? We was playing really good against the top end teams, coming up against the Wolves. I mean, they're a good team in their own right. I'm not trying to slate them, but I'm just saying.
But compared
Come up-
to
yeah, compared to them guys,
Now's
you know,
the time to play them. Now's the
Yeah.
time to play them. They've
It
had a
is,
bad start to
exactly.
the season, but they're going to be hungry and they're going to see that and think we
then
can.
they're going to need a win. So
well, yeah,
That's the problem. There's a mentality thing where other teams can come and play us and think, oh, it's only Tottenham. We'll have
yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
Roy Keane has said that. Lads, it's Tottenham.
Yeah.
Was it
yeah.
Bergie?
Roy
I can't
Keane said
remember
that,
what
but
it was.
it happens and we see it and we can't let that happen. We need to start really quick. And then, you know, we can control the game. That's the key. Spurs are at the best when they control the game.
Exactly.
Okay, so just before we finish, come on, you Spurs.
Up
Come on, you
Spurs.
Spurs. Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah.